Sorry, I'm a little late on my weekly upload. I've been doing so good over here getting my weekly upload on Adventure Undone posted. But why I was late is the weather's been horrible. It's been cold, it's been rainy, it's just been so stinking miserable. But today, we finally got some good weather. It's like right around the 60s, sun shining, a little bit of wind out there. And we're gonna go out on the Rebel 1100. I'm not gonna be talking about the Rebel 1100, that's for a future video. What I wanna talk about today is fears of riding a motorcycle for a beginner. I'm still fairly new. I've been riding for a year and a year and a half, or somewhere right around there, you know, so I'm no expert by any means, and I don't want you to take this video, or heck, any of my videos as like professional advice or trainer advice, just kind of feedback from rider to rider, maybe answering some of your concerns as a newbie as well, rather than some experienced, top-notch level rider kind of giving you some feedback. So hopefully this will be able to help you. We're going to talk about some fears of riding a motorcycle as a beginner, some things that might worry you, maybe squashing some of this for you, giving a little reassurance. And that's, again, why we're on the Rebel 1100, because I don't think many people will be on an Africa Twin. On top of that, the DCT. This, we have the manual version. We're going to be shifting, talking about a lot of that. And again, I think this is going to suit the topic of this video a lot more. So anyways, I'm gonna slap my helmet on. We're using a Shoei modular. First time wired up in this, so hopefully it works good and hopefully we sound good. Let's go for a ride, have a conversation.
My gosh, it is such a gorgeous day. Slight crisp in the air, kind of making my knees cold on the Rebel. On the Rebel here, as you see, I got the shorter windscreen, so I don't got as much wind blockage as I do on the Africa Twin. And I hope my audio is coming out good, because again, it's just all out here. I mean, the Shoei helmet's not known to be the quietest, so hopefully my audio is still gonna come out good. But you know what? That's the best area to start right here. Talking about it being quite windy out here. You're hearing the wind. You can kind of feel the wind through the video, right? As cheesy as that sounds. And you know what? Talking about being scared riding a motorcycle as a new rider, that was honestly one of my biggest fears. The wind was scary. Of course, I started on a Honda 300L, right? Right now we're sitting on a Rebel 1100. The weight difference is dramatic. My Africa Twin is dramatic, right? These bikes are planted. They're lightweight. They're really sitting there. You may be starting out, maybe NC 750 like I had before. Maybe again a dual sport. Maybe a Rebel 500 or 300, a little bit lighter, but still heavier than the 300L. So the wind, why it would scare me so much, the 300L being such a lightweight bike, the wind would just hit you and it would throw you across the lane. It would be really intimidating for me as a new rider, you know? I mean, you're already scared to be on the bike a little bit, then that wind just throws you over. It can really freak you out, you know? So the one thing I could say about that is I 100% agree with you. High winds are scary, especially if you're going a little bit faster. You're 65 or above, going 70, say you're on the interstate or something. It could really freak you out, you know? Number one, never overcompensate for it, right? So if the wind blows you over, don't jerk that steering wheel or the bars to the left or right, whichever way it's blowing you. Do not overcompensate for the wind. Flow with it, lean with it, and just roll it out. You know what I mean? You can decrease your speed a little bit, but nothing dramatic, nothing abrupt. You know what I mean? Just kind of roll with it, bring it out, ride out of it right there. And just practice that over time. You know what I mean? Like, I would avoid high wind days as much as I would avoid rainy days. But what I started doing, after I got a little bit more confident on the bike, of course, I'm like, all right, it's windy, but let me get out, let me practice this on some back roads, let me learn it. Same thing I did with rainy days, you know what I mean? But I don't even think rainy days are going to be a part of this discussion we're having here today. That's a whole different thing, but just the core is like windy days. Like, it's a beautiful day. You don't want to avoid, you don't want to sit inside because it's breezy out there, you know what I mean? You want to learn how to just relax with it, you know, loosen up your arms, don't overcompensate, don't tense it up. But I do agree, and if it's something that kind of freaks you out, trust me, you're not alone. A lot of us, the wind can really freak you out, especially depending what kind of road you are on. Number two that can be very scary and intimidating for a new rider is shifting. No joke, at least for me, I was very scared of shifting on a motorcycle. I've driven manual cars before, and you're kind of used to it, right? You're on the steering wheel, you got your foot, you let it out, and you're on your right hand. Well, this is completely different. You got your foot, you got your left hand. What? I'm a righty. I don't do better like that, you know? It's very intimidating. But, you know, and that's a good thing about how I started on the 300L. Like, I was able to take it on back dirt roads and really practice it, learn that sweet spot of the throttle, and that, you know, letting go of the clutch right there. You can really learn that off-road a lot. Now, if you're on a different bike, a Rebel or something like that, and you're on the road, well, you know, maybe a nice parking lot will be your best. An empty, not busy parking lot, right? And you can really learn that sweet spot of your motorcycle, because more than anything, that's it. It's really that clutch, you know what I mean? And you're going to learn with that sound. Like, we're in fourth right here. Bam, you can shift it. Come up like that. We got some horse riders up here. Let me see. Don't want no horse going crazy here. Let's go on. Oh, they're gorgeous horses. Gorgeous. But anyways, shifting could be very intimidating. So like I said, learn somewhere in a parking lot. If you got a road bike, if you got a dual sport, go into something like this, a little state park type thing, or a little campground area, and kind of just learn that sweet spot over. Because nothing's worse than stalling at a red light, especially if you're at the start of the red light. The cars behind you, they don't care that you're on a motorcycle. They're like, dude, get going, right? So you stall at the light, you got these other people coming behind you. Other than just learning the task, it's embarrassing. Like, let's not fool each other. It's embarrassing when you stall, especially at a light if you're in the front or something. Like, not even in the front, you know what I mean? So again, it's kind of learning your motorcycle more than anything. It's learning your motorcycle more than even shifting right there, you know what I mean? But again, you get to a parking lot and just release it and kind of learn that sweet spot there, and everything else is just gonna, you know, be a blur to you. What I love about Honda motorcycles, by the way, is you have the shift indicator. The 300L has it. I mean, the sport bikes have it, the Rebels have it. It's such a simplistic, nice feature. Like, I barely use it now. I'll use it to like check if I'm in neutral or something, but when I'm just driving, it's all off sound. But it's a really nice peace of mind to have. So again, if you're on a Honda, you're very lucky. That's going to help you out a lot right there, so you know you're always in the right gear. But try not to be just staring down on it. Still keep focused on your road. But trust me, I was right there with you. Shifting on a motorcycle could be very intimidating at first. Hence the reason, again, DCT. Even to this day, even as fun as shifting is, I highly recommend, and I love Honda DCT motorcycles. NC750X, my Africa Twins DCT. I wish Honda would implement DCT into some cheaper bikes. Put DCT on a Rebel 500. Holy smokes, so many more new riders will come into this hobby. You know what I mean? And I think Honda's really missing a big step right there, because if they could implement that into, say, a $6,000 bike, $7,000 bike, so many more people would start riding motorcycles, I think, and then gradually go whichever direction they want. Honda, DCT, and cheaper bikes, you're missing a big market. The next one I got for you, as we're on a straightaway right here, which makes no sense, is turning. I want to talk about turning on your motorcycle. That's something I feel like is just going to come naturally with you. But when you're on the bike, it's different than a car. You don't just turn your bars. You don't just turn them left to right, or it's just going to wing you off the other side, as you probably learned in your driving test or your motorcycle test. Counter steering, right? When you lean, you kind of pull with the other bar instead of pushing, and vice versa, depending how severe that turn is. You kind of lean with the bike, flow with the bike. You don't just yank and turn the bars, or it's just going to throw you off the opposite direction you're going there, you know? So that's something that I really think kind of comes along with more riding and stuff. But again, as I stated before, with like the wind, is the biggest thing is don't overcompensate for the fear. Like, if you're like, oh shoot, man, not this, you know, and you wham, next thing you know, you're going to be on the ground. And you know, crazy story, last week I was just at the motorcycle shop, and this guy, he was on his Triumph, you know, and he was coming out of the shop, and I saw him go out. And when he went out, I saw him just kind of take the turn really tight. I was like, that doesn't look like it's going to work out too well. Bam, second later, he's down. His bike, you heard it, you know, he went down on his knee. Luckily, he was okay. But again, looking at stuff like that, it's something you kind of learn is like, don't think, hey, I'm going to come out here and turn right. No, look at your turn, look at the divots, and look how wide you can turn without cutting into that other lane or something. That's the biggest thing, is like, okay, so I'm going to be turning right. Let me get on the far left of this lane here so I can swing it around and come in tighter. If I start over here on the far side and swing it around, well, I'm going to be coming up into that lane when I come out, if that makes sense. So again, really learning your scenario, the road. What's going on up here? They a little camping or something? Oh, a bike. Bicycle meet, that's what it is. Okay, anyways, back to turning. So again, just pick your route, just like off-road riding, right? You're picking your route when you're off-road. Do the same thing when you're on-road. Heck, even other than just turning, you know? Like even now, like I'll take this in and then I'll be able to ride it out and kind of get straight up. So if there's other traffic there, I still got road to play with. Same deal if you're doing a tighter turn, you know what I mean? Kind of draw your road, kind of figure out what you got, and you're gonna just take it perfectly fine. Again, the biggest thing is don't let that fear overtake you. Don't overcorrect it and freak out. That's what's gonna get you in trouble. And the last topic I want to talk about, which I totally forgot which number we're on. We're either on like 4 or 5. Anyways, the last topic I want to talk about is speed. Just initial speed riding. It can be intimidating, you know, because you're used to riding in a car, or you're sitting in a car, you're going 70 miles an hour. It's like, okay, I got, you know, airbags and a roof and a floorboard and a front and all these other safety features in the car, you know. And then, you know, you kind of got that sense of security in a car. On a motorcycle, you're out in the elements. You are out in the elements. Now, on a back road like this, it's not too bad. I got this one car in front of me right now with this tractor, you know, but if you're on the interstate, completely different experience. You got all these cars around you, not even interstate, just a basic highway with more than 2 lanes. No matter what, there's bound to be cars around you somewhere, you know. And when you're going fast with that, you really got to be aware of what's in front of you, what's on each side of you, what's behind you. And I do like to avoid crowds in a motorcycle, like as far as jumbled up in cars. I mean, it doesn't bother me too much. With the Rebel 1100 and then the Africa Twin, I know I can get out of any situation. Speed, right there. Everything we just talked about goes into play with speed, right? The wind's gonna pick up, it's gonna be more intense. You got to get your turn and calculate your turn. You got to plan that route in front of you. And then you're going to be going faster. You're learning your throttle. You don't want to whip it too much. You want to understand which gear you're in. I downshifted 2 gears. Everything we've talked about so far came into play right there when I passed that vehicle. And on top of it, the fear of speed, right? So, speed is something I say you keep at the end, just like we have in this video here. Don't go out on your brand new motorcycle and try to just rip it all around and top it out and be Mr. Cool Breeze out there. Be Mr. Safe Breeze. As old man and dad that sounds, but seriously, don't try to get out there and be Mr. Cool Breeze. You got a new cool motorcycle, maybe put a loud pipe on it. Go out there, be safe, learn it, and get comfortable, you know what I mean? Because again, when you start dealing with speed, man, we don't even want to think about where an accident can happen like that, you know what I mean? Because everything we just talked about makes you completely comfortable. It's just you can really handle everything we talked about with ease before you start getting into speed, because that's where things are going to get really hairy, and you want to be able to incorporate everything into that speed, whether you're passing someone, riding on interstate or something like that. Be safe, take your time, don't try to be, again, Mr. Cool Breeze out there. Again, it sounds so corny because you probably hear it at your jobs and you hear it at school and this, that, the other. Safety, 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 right? Like, Shut up. I hear about that enough over there. I don't want to hear about it here when I'm on my motorcycle out to have a good time. You know what I mean? And safety does not remove the good time when you're on a motorcycle. It's makes it a lot more fun, actually. It really does, because you can just relax and enjoy the scenery and the ride and have fun, rather than being tensed up and freaking out or doing something stupid, not only putting yourself in harm, but someone else as well. And again, giving motorcyclists a bad name.
So there we go. My 5, I guess, tips for new riders, fears for new riders. And I hope you can hear me now. Like, it's still gusty out here. I'm not sure. It was so windy when we were riding, so hopefully my audio still turned out pretty good right there. But those are my 5 fears, right? I want to hear what, I think we did 5. I don't know, maybe we did 4 or 6. I have no idea. But I want to hear from you all. What are some fears you have when riding a motorcycle still to this day, even if you're experienced? Or maybe some of the top 5 fears, or the few fears you had when you first started motorcycle riding. I really want to hear down in the comments, see if maybe some of these are just crazy fears that I had, or, you know, some of them still to this day, like heavy winds can still get pretty freaky. So again, let me know right down in the comments. I want to hear from you guys, and heck, hopefully maybe I helped you out if you're a new rider out there a little bit. Again, do not take this as some sort of instructional, professional type of video. It's just a rider talking to a rider, having a conversation with y'all. So anyways, thank you so much for coming along for this ride today. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope, again, I helped you out, if possible anyway, right there. And I hope I see you on the next adventure. Bye now.